Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning, and we're going to quickly go over this formula sheet because we have already gone over everything. And we used the rectangular prism formulas yesterday. But today we're going to be concentrating on a cylinder and on a cone. Okay, a cylinder is like a Pringles can. A cone might be like a party hat, okay? When we look at volume's what fits on the inside. The formula is pi r squared h. And you can see here your h is your height. It's what connects the two circles, okay? And your radius is halfway from the edge of the circle right to that middle point, all right? Then if you look at the cone, we've got volume, which is 1/3 pi r squared h. Well, the h is the part that makes the right angle, that goes right down to the center, and the radius connects to that. Now this L right here, that is called the slant height. I know it sounds like length because it's an L, but it's not. So just remember, L on a cone means the slanted side, okay? And we're going to do some examples and see what we can get done. Hey everybody, so we've gone over the formulas for Tuesday, and now we're going to look at doing some examples. So this is a cylinder, and it is asking us to find the surface area. Well, thank goodness we have the formula down here in the corner, because otherwise I don't think I would remember it either. So let's label our parts. First of all, this, from the center of the circle to the edge, is the radius. So we're going to put an R there. Then the line or the side that goes from one circle to the other, the two bases, is always your height. Okay, so let's come over here to our calculator and let's type in our formula. We've got 2 pi and then r squared. Okay, then we're going to move over to the side by using our cursor, plus 2 pi r then h. All right, so let's go back and read that carefully. It's 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. If you have any trouble getting that in the calculator, you just need to contact us so we can help you, okay? So let's put in our variables. R equals 4, our radius is 4. Let's go to the next line, and our height equals 7. So that means, when you look at your calculator, that your total surface area is 276. And since we're looking for surface area, it's going to be units, since we didn't have units, squared. Okay, so if we were, if that was inches, say, and we wanted to paint it, we would need enough paint to cover 276 inches squared. Okay, I didn't use any of the decimals. I just rounded to the nearest whole number. So that was surface area. So let's go ahead and see what our next example is. All right, our next one is going to be, we have to fill this silo. So let's talk about that first. On farms, grain is stored in cylindrical structures called silos. And if you see, there's an arrow that points to a silo. How much grain will fill, that's the key word there, fill a silo with a diameter of 15 and a height of 25. So we already have our height, so we can put h equals 25. But diameter, if you have a circle, diameter is all the way across from one side to the other. So our radius would be the diameter, which is 15 divided by 2. So we're going to put that in our calculator. I'm going to do things a little bit backwards this time. So I'm going to put h equals 25. And then we know we have to find our radius. So to find our radius equals 15 divided by 2. Now, if you're already given the radius, you don't have to divide by 2. But if you're given the diameter, you've got to divide by 2 to make it into a radius, okay? So let's look down at the bottom. Since we're talking about filling, we need to use the volume formula. So let's type that in. It's pi r squared h, and that means our volume is equal to 4,417.9. Let's round to the nearest tenth this time, and that is going to be feet cubed. Okay, because that 6 pushes up that 8 and makes it a 9. So if we want to know how much grain can be stored in that silo, it's a lot. 4,417.9 cubic feet of grain. Okay, again, if you have any questions, let me know. The big things to remember is if you're given diameter, divide by 2. If you're given radius, leave it alone and just put it in with the r. All right? And let's see what our next two examples have. Now we're looking at cones. So I'm going to come over here and clear Desmos. And this one, we always have to read it, wants the volume of the figure below. So let's look right here. Volume is that formula there. And let's try to label all our parts. First of all, we know that the part that goes from the center of the circle to the outer edge is the R. So our R is 7. We talked about height being whatever part comes down and forms that right angle right there. So this is the height. The height's equals 24. And then the slant height, which kind of comes down this way, slant height, and I'm going to write it. And for some reason, slant height equals the letter L. Okay, so that's going to be 25. So let's come over here, and why don't we go ahead and put in our variables first. So we know the height is 24. We know the radius is 7. And L is the slant height. We know that's 25. Okay, so now let's put the volume formula into Desmos. 1 divided by 3, and I'm going to use my cursor to move over. Pi r squared. So we've got 1/3 pi r squared, and now we need an h. And that gives us a volume of 1,232. I went ahead and rounded to the nearest whole number. That 5 rounded it up. And that is meters cubed, because volume is how much something can hold. So that's meters cubed. All right. Thank God for Desmos for these. It makes it easy. Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm going to clear my calculator here. It says, below is a picture of the cone-shaped building at the Wigwam Village Motel in Cave City, Kentucky. I'm not sure I'd want to stay there, but hey. How much paint would it take to cover the entire building, including the floor inside? So cover means surface area. Remember those keywords? Fill means volume, but cover means surface area. So let's come down here to the formula for surface area. And then let's figure out what all of our pieces are here. For surface area, all we need is the radius and the slant height. So slant height we know is this one over here to the side. It's an L. And our radius is going to be half of that diameter. So 20 divided by 2 is going to equal our radius. If you can see, that yellow line comes all the way from one end to the other. So radius is half of it, which means you divide by 2. So L equals 22. That's our slant height. And our radius equals the diameter, 20 divided by 2. Okay, now let's go to the next slide and let's put in that formula. It is pi r squared plus pi r L. All right, so we would need a whole lot of paint to be able to take care of that. So our surface area of this cone, if we were going to paint it, would be 1,005 feet squared. So we'd need enough paint to cover 1,005 feet squared. So I don't know about you, but that would be a lot of paint. Okay, let's see if we have any more examples. I think we might be done with this. All right, so you guys go ahead and work on your activities. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey guys, just real quick before this video is over, since I did not make an appearance earlier, if you need anything, don't forget to text us, call us, email us. We will be here all day, probably part of the night, and we are happy to help you, okay? So I will see you tomorrow in the next video, and maybe Sleeping Puppy will still be there. Hi guys.
We are family. I got all my classmates with me.
Okay, now.